for over 20 years now. Yeah, right, Reiko? We started, no, not we started, they started. But at the time, the Rockefeller Foundation was the donor when I was the director of the Rockefeller Foundation. So we go a long way into the past, and they have remained extremely consistent in advocating for migrants' rights up to today. So I will give the word to Reiko to introduce the panel as well as the distinguished speaker that are going to contribute to the discussion today. Please, Reiko.
Hello, it's working? It's working? Yes, okay. Thank you very much, Leah, for a very kind introduction. And thank you for so many of you to make time to join for this conversation here. So as Leah introduced, Mekong Migration Network is a sub-regional network of civil society organizations, academics who are jointly advocating for rights of migrant workers. We started working together in 2001, and we've been formally working as a network since 2003. And for this issue of mixed migration, as Leah also mentioned, we've been focusing quite a lot, especially since the military coup in Myanmar. But the mixed migration itself has been already happening for decades in this region. And as we know, that as title suggests, neighbors in need. So we know that we have neighbors and people who are coming here for refuge and also seeking livelihood. But at the same time, as another title, In Need of Neighbors, suggests, Thailand also, we know very well, because of its demographic change, and also recently we see the impact of return of Cambodian migrants. We know very well that industries in Thailand, economy and society in Thailand has also been very much relying on the contribution of migrant workers. So we do see migrant workers as a backbone of a Thailand economy. So we, in this very complex situation, we really like to discuss together how potentially Thailand can formulate policies as well as practice and responses, and what we can do together to contribute in achieving social cohesion in the region. So I stopped the introduction here, but now I'd like to introduce the moderator and the panelists. So today we have a privilege of having wonderful speakers. We have Kun Nilabong Phonsapyong, who is a founder of the group of entrepreneurs with foreign workers. And also we have Ms. Jacqueline Strecker, Senior Development Officer from UNHCR. And we have Mr. Tujit, Executive Director from Foundation for Education and Development, who has been also a founding member of the Mekong Migration Network. And we have Jackie Pollock, who moderate this very complex and very important discussion. And Mr. Atik San, the research officer of the Mekong Migration Network, he'll be doing translation. Yeah. Okay, and just also want to announce that we have these exhibition boards in the back and on the side, in which we introduce the voice of migrant workers and contribution of migrants. Some of them are more of voice of migrant workers who are currently working. Some boards are the voices of refugees from the refugee camp. And there's also a board for Cambodian migrants, in which we introduce the voice of Cambodian people have returned to Cambodia. So after the panel discussion, spend some moment to look at the exhibition board as well. And we wanted to bring publication called the Neighbours in Need, because as I mentioned, Mekong Migration Network has been working on this issue for quite some time, and we have done some research and made publication, but due to high demand, we run out of the copies, so couldn't bring, but it's the PDF is available online, and later the Secretariat will put the QR code for the publication on the screen. So please do have a look at the publication as well. So can I hand the mic over to the moderator, Jackie?
Thank you, Reiko. So I think we've been introduced, and we're going to, let me just tell you the format. So our three speakers will speak first, and then we'll open it for questions and answers. And then I believe that there were some people in our audience who may have some extra comments to give because they have a lot of experience in this area. So without further ado, I will hand over to Tuchit, an old friend and colleague. We work together, particularly in the tsunami. And he is the director and founder of Foundation for Education and Development.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Yeah, thank you, Jackie. Yeah. I'm Tuchit. I'm executive director of the Foundation for Education and Development. I'm also proud to share that I'm the former president of the MMN, Mekong Migration Network, and also my late president Jackie here. So I'm so happy to be here. And we are working for the migrant and IDP issue in Thailand for almost 3 decades now. So now that stick with the panelists and the friends and colleagues and some journalists and some organization members. Thank you. That I honor to share about our experience. Oh, you can get some the data or figure, some the website or some ChatGPT or AI. But I would like to share mostly for our experience on the ground, what we found it on the ground. This is the point. Oh, sorry, so that I also that the work on for your question is most important. So I just share. As you know, the Thailand also the experience, the risk experience for the the mismigration, not for within the few years when we are in 1988 I also the 1988 generation, that it was the last 37 years ago. Also the Thailand also established many different refugee camp, not only for the the Myanmar migrant or mismigration, also for the Cambodians and Laos. So normally the Myanmar migrant, they working at the natural way, working for like the 3D job, actually, as you know, especially the agriculture, construction, fishery, and manufacturing. So, however, just after the military coup in Myanmar in 2001, so many the migrants are coming not by choice, not for their the safety and necessity. So there are the the different type of the migrants. So we can say like who is coming to this, like the people freeing the political persecution and conflict. It is sorry, yeah. It's also the very is a one important thing that's why the people left from the country. The second thing is that like in the last year in 2024 February, the military regime that they approved for their construction law of the military services. This means that the many or the young people, they are forcing to be immigrate, especially in Thailand. Especially in Thailand, mean the most of them they cross very easy to cross the border. Also, some are also that going to the other country like China's or others, India or something like that. So this is that we are most focusing on the mismigration in Thailand. So there are these after the military coup, if the many military services or government services and stuff, they involved CDMO. They are teachers, they are nurses, they are journalists, and some businessmen, and many are professionals. Even in the education sector, from the primary teacher to university professor, they become the migrate in Thailand. And even in the health sector, nurse aid from nurse aid to the surgery, like the very the professional surgery are also left from the country. the most importantly, we also have some, the political campaign for, the Syrian, for the student. So many students also that they afraid it, and then they becoming the migrant. Even now that in last 2 or 3 years, we also the new arrival, not from inside Burma, also the who are involved for the revolution or the spring revolution, or they are working for 3 or 4 years, something like 3, 4 years, 5 years. They also, they becoming the migrant. As our generation, when we left from the country last 37 years ago, we also are working in the jungle for 10 years, and then we becoming the migrant, something like that. So, and what is they are facing, in the Thailand is, actually, that in Thailand also there's some, they are the limited job creation. Even that there are some jobs are for even for the migrants in general. For example, teachers, the migrant, they cannot work at the teacher, or they cannot work at the nurses. For example, and also any others sector as well. So this is the at the same time, the Thailand also have also the own problem. And also that we do also the understand it. The Myanmar migrant are very, how to say that, they feel like that they didn't have the government who support or who protect for them. Even in our country, the so-called, we have the 2 government. I think that this 2 government they didn't work for the migrants anymore. I didn't see. They are effectively working for the migrant issue in Thailand. So we also, there's some the recommendation also for the Thai government. Actually, we are the foundation who register in the Thailand as a legal first ever register, Myanmar register foundation in Thailand. I also do appreciate for our Thai board member. They are the supporting for the migrant issue for the manager. So currently the big problem is like for the documents. Document is one of the very important things for the migrant, because of many of migrants are also they afraid, or they don't want to contact to the military government. It is also that this is making the more difficult for them. Even that the government is a good or bad, but there's some the government also have to involve or have to protect for their fellow citizen. So, and also at the same time, they also afraid to be, the deport back to Myanmar, because of they are not the real migrant workers, or they are activists, or they are so-called, they are missed the migration. If they are going back to, or they are deported back to Myanmar, they are going to be prosecutors, or they're going to be the long sentence in the prison. There is a reason that they always, they're hiding, and also they're trying to deal with the local authority to be, escape, to be deportation to Myanmar. Thank you. And we always trying to work with the Thai government agency in the many level. So our main advocate is like for the education for the migrant kids, because maybe you're aware that last year in 2024 in September, the 3 learning centers have been closed in the Surat Thani. Six learning centers, but some people saw only for the 6 learning centers closed by the Thai government, but reality is 100 of migrant the learning centers have been closed. Because I am the witnesses, I also made the the report regarding for the migrant education in Thailand. So we found out because of the learning center have been closed because of, they are not much with the Thai government policy on the migrant education. We also the recommend and we also advocate to, that they should have the clear framework for the migrant education in Thailand. So we stayed, the many hundred of, the migrant learning center have been closed. Also, especially in the southern part of Thailand, where we base. So every day base many, the learning center request to reopen their school because of we are running for the education for almost 20 years. Every day, every year, the migrant children, they back to Myanmar. In the last 5 years, after the last 5 years, they didn't back to the Myanmar. So that means, the student population are increasing every day. Students, they didn't back to Myanmar. At the same time, there are many new students are entered to the Thailand. So, and my strong recommendation is that we should invest for the education for migrants, IDP, and refugee kids, especially around the Thailand-Myanmar border, because they also allow only for the Thai-Myanmar border, only not the inside Thailand. So that they are providing for the migrant development or migrant education. It is also the better future for our both society or both community can be the benefits. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chichit. So I think Chichit has given us that overview to show the complexity of migration in Thailand, mainly from Myanmar, but of course there's also complexity of migration from Cambodia and from Laos and starting to me again from Vietnam. We're now going to focus in on one particular group of people who've migrated from Myanmar to Thailand, who've been in the camps, in refugee camps along the border for the last 35 years, not being allowed to work, not being allowed to leave the camps. And today, this year, we've had a new policy come into place, partly due to the exodus of Cambodian migrants and partly due to the exodus of funding from the US, which means that it's no longer feasible for refugees to survive in the camps. And so they're being allowed to work. We've been advocating for that for many years. I think we are advocating for the right to choose your work, which is not quite what's happening. But we're going to hear much more about that from Jackie, my namesake, from UNHCR. Over to you.
Great, thank you. So hi, everyone. I'm Jackie Strecker. I work with UNHCR, so the UN Refugee Agency. And just a bit of background on who I am. I've worked with the organization since 2012 in a number of different roles, but most recently, I was working with our global team looking at sustainable responses around the world and trying to transition from what we've seen as parallel systems, camp-based initiatives towards moving towards things that are more sustainable. It was kind of noted that within Thailand, there's been lots of reasons for this cabinet change, but we've started to see globally that there's recognition that parallel systems, encampment policies actually aren't sustainable, which I think we can all agree, but that they also limit human capital, have limitations on security, and really prevent us, I think, as a global community from moving forward. So it's within that frame that I've had the pleasure to come to Thailand and to be able to work with an incredible group from civil society to government actors, UN partners, to really look at supporting the Roy Thai government in this transition. It's not easy, and I think that was noted in terms of looking at lots of the challenges that unfold, but I can say first and foremost, I've been very impressed with the commitment that I've seen from all actors and the real vision behind this change. I think it was noted that there were some motivations maybe tied to aid being reduced, also tied to different situations happening with different migrant workers, but also to say that we had seen within parliamentarian discussions a lot of these factors being debated over the last couple of years. And so I really do think this is maybe multiple factors that have led to this moment, but it's really encouraging that this isn't just because of a drop in aid, that there is a recognition that there's really got to be a different way in terms of how we respond and how we work with people who are fleeing persecution. So I really do see what's happening in Thailand right now as a turning point in terms of responses. Encampment policies that were at one time meant to provide safety really created a dependency on aid. And I think that has been recognized. And so what we're seeing now is really a transformative shift. And it's not just a policy adjustment. This is really serving as a lifeline for tens of thousands of individuals. So I'm just going to, I will do the ChatGPT, run you through the numbers quickly, because I think it's important to know. Also, because this is a really important example of what we're seeing within the region. So within the region, within the region, Asia Pacific hosts 15.4 million persons of concern to UNHCR. So this includes refugees, asylum seekers. So that's 13% of the number that we see globally. Myanmar has it's one of the largest countries of origin for refugees around the world, approximately 1.5 million refugees as of mid-2025. And that's refugees. I'm making the distinction here from those that claim asylum or those that are migrant workers. As well, when my intervention is really going to focus on looking at the individuals that have been residing in the 9 camps or temporary shelters along the border. And so this is just over or roughly 80,000 individuals. And this is the population that has benefited from this cabinet resolution that we've seen in August, where they've now provided access to work. And again, this is a very important change and a very timely change for a number of reasons that have been mentioned. But I just want to put into context. So OECD is predicting that ODA levels will have dropped this year between 9 and 17% globally. When you put that into a dollar figure, that's over 40 billion. So that's a huge amount of money that in overseas aid and assistance has been reduced. This is coupled with what we've learned, I think, as a community, that humanitarian systems are overstretched, parallel systems are unsustainable, they drain resources. And what we're starting to see through the Global Compact on Refugees and through other governments that are starting to make the shift towards inclusion models is that there is a better way. And you can start to see gains and benefits to hosting countries when you actually provide an opportunity for the right to work. And so this is, I think, why we're so inspired by Thailand's decision to take this forward. So there's also a human dimension to why this matters. It was well put forward in terms of looking at the individuals behind this. And I do think it's important to note that this population has been entirely dependent on humanitarian aid for a long period of time. They haven't been able to formally work. All of the services that have been provided have been parallel. They've been contained to the temporary shelters. And we know this aid is shrinking. And so families are faced with impossible decisions on what to do. Unsafe migration, exploitation, different issues. But legal access to work actually changes this. So now refugees are allowed to earn an income. They can support their families. They can plan for the future. We can restore their dignity and agency. And here, I really want to underscore, it's not just about wages. It's not just about earning an income, but it's really about a pathway to hope. And I really do think inclusion kind of provides that pathway to hope. There's also an economic imperative behind this, and this was mentioned a little bit, but we all know Thailand, the aging population, over 20%, is over the age of 60. This is compared to only 6% of refugees. 56% of refugees within these 9 camps are of working age, and they do have skills that they can contribute, and we're already seeing this take shape. There are also potential benefits to boost the economy and productivity. And so we've done some calculations, and approximately sort of over 9 million annually in Thai baht could be gained in social security contributions and income tax contributions from allowing individuals to work. So these are contributions into Thai society, which I think is very important as well. So it's not just a benefit for refugees, but a benefit to all of Thai society. Moving again away from aid and investing to investing in a Thai community. So it's not charity. And I think when we often think about humanitarian responses, people have that notion of charity. This is smart economics. It just really does make sense. We've also seen, and this is a real reality within a lot of these shelters, is that often when there's encampment, there are negative coping mechanisms. So that can be substance abuse, domestic violence, exploitation. And as aid declines, these risks potentially increase. But again, work is a constructive alternative to this. It reduces stress on families. It lowers protection risks. It creates opportunities for interactions between these individuals and the communities that are hosting them. And inclusion really does build trust and strengthen social fabric. And I think that's really important. So what we've seen to date since the cabinet resolution came into effect is there's been a number of SOPs that have been issued, both from the Ministry of Interior and the Ministry of Labor, as well as guidance notes from Ministry of Public Health. And these have really put forward steps towards how to actually make this from a policy decision into a practical implementation. And you can see behind me, there's 43 provinces where the refugees from these locations are able to work. And so this isn't across the country, but these are locations where we know there are labor shortages and really providing a breadth of opportunity for that work to take place. We've already had, and the latest figures I have are close to 900 refugees that have gone and proceeded to attain work, and more that are in the process of getting their work permits who have gone through and been matched with employers. And part of how this is happening, and I think it's on the next slide, is there have been service shops that have taken place where these employers will contact the Department of Employment, let them know that they are interested in hiring. They will pull together and do sort of a job fair. Well, they will come forward and provide information about the employment, and then they will recruit individuals for different skills. There's also health checks that are taking place because we really want to ensure that anyone who's traveling to another province isn't carrying a communicable disease with them. So that is also taking place, and we've seen a lot of strong support from the Ministry of Public Health that has been mobilizing and providing options for this to take place. This isn't simple. It's quite complex. You've got 9 temporary shelters, some much more remote than others. But what has been quite impressive is the fact that, again, there's been a whole of government kind of approach. And actually last Friday, we had a meeting that was convened by the Ministry of Interior together with civil society to really look at unpacking what are ways to simplify these processes and make them stronger in terms of moving forward. A lot of the refugees in the community, this is the first time of thinking of going outside the camp. You can imagine that's lots of anxiety. There's first time that employers are coming into these environments. So there's a learning curve that's taking place where everyone is trying to understand what information do we share? What do we need to inform people of? What's also nice to see is we're seeing a lot of refugees who have taken up employment and are working are also sharing their experience on social media, are showing exercises that they're doing in the mornings with their fellow workers, their lunch rooms, getting their first paychecks, and they're sharing their experiences. They're also communicating experiences where their expectations of employment might not have been met, where they've gone out to work in other places and they weren't provided enough information at the start, and so their expectations were very different. And I will say there will always be, and this is what we've seen globally, different experiences. But what is really reassuring in being here is seeing how much this is an effort that is not only sort of led by the government, which is what you want to see. So the Royal Thai government taking a really strong lead, but supported by civil society. And it's great to see so many of you here today as well. I think hopefully champions and supporters of this, because I do think there's a role for everyone to play in working through the complexity to really make sure that these policies end up being impactful impact for everyone and benefiting everyone. So I will say that, again, we're encouraged by what we're seeing here in Thailand. I think there's ways of resolving issues overall. I think it flashed up on the screen for a moment, but just to say, when we look at access to work, East Asia has had some of the lowest levels over time. This is refugees having access to work. We've seen steadily this increasing in other regions across the board. And this is why we are very excited and are willing to do whatever we can to support the Royal Thai government in proceeding with these policies, because I really do think this can be impactful not only for Thailand and Thai society, but actually for the region. We know a lot of countries are interested, from Malaysia to Indonesia, trying to understand how this process goes, what they can learn from it, to look at their own policies and regulations to see what can be done. So I'll stop there, and I really welcome the discussion. I see many fellow friendly faces in the audience, and I think we all have something to contribute to this process. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Jackie. And I think it's really interesting for Thailand, which has had to respond to situations over the last several decades of like people coming across the border without any control. That's millions of migrants, from Burma, from all the different. And here is a small group, 43,000. It's manageable, that they can actually make policies on and put things into place, see whether that's really going to work, that you can actually get proper labor conditions for people and proper choices of work for a small group of people. So I think it's an interesting moment in the history of Thailand and migration, which we all hopeful for. Thank you, Jackie, for making us more hopeful. I'd like now to go on to my our third speaker tonight, who is Ninibon Pongpyom, who is the founder of the group of entrepreneurs with foreign workers. I think sometimes they call themselves white employers, meaning that they are employers who are looking for the good ways to do employment. So I could pass the mic, and Nibon is going to speak in Thai, and Simon will translate it into English.
สวัสดีค่ะนิรุบลนะคะกลุ่มนายจ้างสีขาวนะคะเดี๋ยวจะให้น้องแปลเป็นภาษาอังกฤษให้นะคะแล้วก็จะขอแนะนำตัวก่อนนะคะว่าเป็นกลุ่มที่เป็นนายจ้างผู้ประกอบการนะคะเป็น SME เป็นรายย่อยนะคะซึ่งเราตั้งกลุ่มนี้มาเพื่อให้ทุกคนเนี่ยเรียนรู้กฎหมายนะคะน้อง
Hello, my name is Nilubon. So I am from the white employer. So like white employer are the employer who form the group, like they are SME, and they set up this group for everyone to learn about like the law.
พูดถึงแรงงานนักข้ามชาตินะคะกลุ่มนายจ้างสีขาวเนี่ยจะมี ผู้ประกอบการประมาณ 70-80%ที่ใช้แรงงานข้ามชาติในประเทศไทยทั้งหมด
Like this group, there are about 70-80% that employ the migrant worker to work with them.
ค่ะอีก 20%เนี่ยก็จะเป็นผู้ประกอบการที่เป็นสภาอุตสาหกรรมแล้วก็สภาหอการค้าค่ะ
Like for about 20%, there are the industry committee.
กลุ่มนายจ้างสีขาวก็เลยมีนายจ้างผู้ประกอบการที่เป็นรายย่อยเป็น SME แล้วก็ไม่ได้มีความรู้เรื่องของกฎหมายนะคะ
So because of like there are many employer like this employer, there are many kind of employer. Like she said, she from they some of them from SME, and this group of people they form a group because like they wanted to learn about the law because like most of the member they don't know about like Thai law.
ค่ะผู้ประกอบการเราก็จะเจอปัญหาเรื่องของการขาดแคลนแรงงานเจอปัญหาโดนตำรวจจับบ้างนะคะแล้วก็ทำใบอนุญาตทำงานให้กับแรงงานข้ามชาติค่อนข้างที่จะยุ่งยากวุ่นวายนะคะแล้วก็ไม่เข้าใจภาษาราชการค่ะ
Like this group, they face they have challenges. Like for example, the employer in Thailand, they have faced with labor shortages, and also some employers they got arrested because they don't have like the document for their employee. Also, the process to get like the work permit for the employee very complicated, and also yeah.
โอเคค่ะตอนนี้เนี่ยแรงงานข้ามชาตินะคะทั้ง4สัญชาติในประเทศไทยนะคะลาวกัมพูชาเมียนมาเวียดนามตอนนี้ที่อยู่ในประเทศไทยนะคะก็เป็นอะไรที่สำคัญกับผู้ประกอบการนายจ้างในประเทศไทยนะคะแล้วก็ตอนนี้เนี่ยมีเรื่องของการขาดแคลนแรงงานที่แรงงานอย่างเช่นกัมพูชาเนี่ยที่มีเรื่องของการสู้รบนะคะแล้วก็กลับประเทศกัมพูชาไปนะคะมีเมียนมาที่ยังมีเรื่องของการสู้รบกันเหมือนกันนะคะยังยิงกันอยู่เรื่องของการเข้าไปปราบเรื่องของสแกมเมอร์นะคะก็ตอนนี้แรงงานก็จะมีทั้งพม่าเมียนมาที่มุดเข้ามาแบบไม่ถูกต้องนะคะในประเทศไทยแต่ว่าก็ยังไม่สามารถที่จะขึ้นทะเบียนแรงงานให้ถูกต้องตามกฎหมายได้แล้วก็ส่วนกัมพูชาเนี่ยก็อย่างที่เราทราบกันก็คือเขาก็มีเรื่องของสงครามมีเรื่องของการเหยียดสัญชาติในประเทศไทยมีเรื่องของการที่เขากลับไปด้วยการกลัวสังคมในประเทศไทยที่เราเห็นเรื่องของการโดนทำร้ายในข่าวค่ะ
So in Thailand, there are 4 national of like a migrant worker from Laos, Cambodia, Myanmar, and Vietnam. So these migrant workers are very important to Thailand. And now, currently, Thailand has been facing like the labor shortages. Like for example, like the Cambodian who return home because of the conflict, and also like Myanmar who Myanmar still have like war and they're still shooting in Myanmar. So yet, and also Thailand also have like the scammer issue, and that make a lot of like that cause a lot of like migrant workers from Myanmar like fitting into Thailand, and when they are already in Thailand, they cannot get registered with the Thai government. And also like Cambodian migrant workers, they're facing with the war, also the discrimination among like Thai people against like Cambodian, and they're also afraid of like the hate in Thai society. They're afraid that Thai people would hate them.
ค่ะตอนนี้เนี่ยมีสถานประกอบการหรือนายจ้างในแต่ละอุตสาหกรรมที่เดือดร้อนอยู่แล้วก็ขาดแคลนแรงงานอยู่นะคะ ตอนนี้ก็มีที่ทำแบบสอบถามไว้ในกลุ่มนายจ้างสีขาวนะคะก็จะมีประเภทนายจ้างที่เป็นก่อสร้างที่ขาดแคลนแรงงานนะคะ ก็จะมีคนกัมพูชาเป็นจำนวนมากที่ทำเรื่องของก่อสร้างนะคะที่ขาดแคลนหนักๆมากๆแล้วก็มีเรื่องของกลุ่มนายจ้างเกษตรนะคะที่ทำเกษตรนะคะแล้วก็มีกลุ่มประมงนะคะที่ขาดแคลนแรงงานหนักๆจริงๆแล้วในทุกๆประเภทกิจการเนี่ยก็ขาดแคลนแรงงานไม่แพ้กันนะคะก็เยอะๆเยอะกันมากๆในทุกกิจการก็จะมีมากน้อยแตกต่างกันไปค่ะ
So the labor shortages in Thailand, according to the survey that the group has surveyed, there are many sectors that still need migrant worker, especially in construction worker, because of the Cambodia had left, also in agriculture and also in fishery sector as well.
ค่ะตอนนี้อีกหนึ่งปัญหาที่ทำให้แรงงานที่มีใช้อยู่ในระบบไม่เพียงพอนะคะขาดแคลนแรงงานเนี่ยเนื่องจากทั้งสองสัญชาติทั้งพม่าแล้วก็กัมพูชานะคะที่กลับบ้านไปเนี่ยตอนนี้ยังมีอีกหนึ่งปัญหาเป็นเรื่องใหญ่และเรื่องสำคัญมากก็คือเรื่องของการบริหารจัดการแรงงานข้ามชาติของกระทรวงแรงงานนะคะ
Not also like the labor shortages that caused by the from Myanmar and Cambodia, also Thailand, Thai government also facing the management problems by the DOE as well.
อันนี้จะแปลยังไงดีปัญหาของกระทรวงแรงงานนะคะก็คือจะมีคณะทำงานที่เรียกว่าคณะกรรมการนโยบายนะคะตรงนั้นเนี่ยก็จะมีหน่วยงานราชการอยู่ในคณะกรรมการที่ดูแลนะคะออกกฎหมายดูแลเรื่องระบบเรื่องนโยบายต่างๆในการที่จะให้แรงงานข้ามชาติมี work permit นะคะตรงนั้นเนี่ยไม่มีตัวแทนของนายจ้างผู้ประกอบการที่เป็นรายย่อยนะคะก็จะมีแต่ผู้ประกอบการที่เป็นสภาอุตสาหหอการค้าก็คือจะเป็นผู้ประกอบการรายใหญ่นะคะแล้วก็จะมีหน่วยงานราชการที่อยู่ในคณะทำงาน
So under the Ministry of Labor, there's like policy committee under the Ministry of Labor. This committee is supposed to be like decide the policy that related to like the work permit for migrant workers. And she said that this committee doesn't include like the group of the employer. So they only include like big employer like not SME employers.
เพราะฉะนั้นในคณะกรรมการนโยบายตรงนั้นก็จะมีแค่ตัวแทนของนายจ้างรายใหญ่แค่20%ก็จะไม่มีตัวแทนของนายจ้างรายย่อยหรือตัวแทนของแรงงานเข้าไปนั่งอยู่ในที่ประชุมนะคะก็จะไม่ได้สะท้อนปัญหาจริงๆให้กับทางคณะกรรมการนโยบายทราบค่ะแล้วก็ตัวแรงงานนะคะก็ไม่ได้ไม่ผู้ที่แบบเจอปัญหาจริงๆกับนายจ้างที่เป็นรายย่อยจริงๆเนี่ยก็ไม่ได้เข้าไปนั่งอยู่เพราะฉะนั้นเนี่ยปัญหามันเลยเกิดขึ้นกับการกำหนดนโยบายการออกแบบเรื่องของใบอนุญาตทำงานของแรงงานค่ะ
So as she said that this committee is including like the big employer like 20% of the committee. That means problem on the ground, the challenging from the ground, never been reflected in that community. That by when they decide the policy, they never include they never concern about the problem on the ground.
ค่ะสภาหอการค้าสภาอุตสาหกรรมและสภาอุตสาหกรรมแล้วก็สภาหอการค้าก็ไม่ได้พูดในเรื่องของปัญหาในเรื่องในคณะกรรมการนโยบายนะคะเพราะฉะนั้นเนี่ยปัญหาเนี้ยมันก็เกิดขึ้นตอนนี้เนี่ยปัญหาหลักๆคือการขึ้นทะเบียนใบอนุญาตทำงานเนี่ยก็จะติดปัญหาของกรมการจัดหางานซึ่งมันมีเรื่องของคอร์รัปชันอยู่ในระบบออนไลน์นะคะมีการคอร์รัปชันในจัดหางานพื้นที่จัดหางานจังหวัดนะคะมีเรื่องของคอร์รัปชันของการซื้อใบแพทย์การตรวจโรคนะคะเพราะฉะนั้นมีเรื่องของการจองคิวของตม.ไม่ได้นะคะก็มีการเก็บไบโอดาต้าหรือการตีวีซ่าไม่ได้นะคะก็จะทำให้แรงงานหลุดระบบทำให้มันมีเรื่องคอร์รัปชันเยอะจนทำให้ตัวแรงงานเนี่ยไม่สามารถที่จะต่อใบอนุญาตทำงานได้เสร็จก็จะทำให้เขาเป็นคนเถื่อนนะคะหลุดระบบแล้วก็จะทำให้มีแรงงานที่อยู่ในมีใบอนุญาตทำงานอยู่ในประเทศเนี่ยมันน้อยลงจากที่ขาดแคลนแรงงานอยู่แล้วเนี่ยนะคะก็จะมีการถูกจับแล้วส่งกลับผลักดันกลับไปประเทศต้นทาง
So this caused so many problems, including the registration for migrant worker, and also there's some corruption going on in the online platform. The corruption is going on in many levels, in district, provincial, and also there's some fake health certificate that's been issued to the migrant worker, and there's a problem of getting the queue, and also the biodata that from the government. That's also that's a problem. So this kind of problem that make migrant worker they are unregistered and they will not get the document issue, and finally they'll be arrested and sending back home. That's why Thailand has got labor shortages.
โอเคพอดีว่าเร่งเวลามาแล้วนะคะปัญหาอีกหนึ่งปัญหาล่าสุดเลยที่เราเจอกันคือเรื่องของน้ำท่วมนะคะก็ที่เราเห็นว่าน้ำท่วมที่สงขลาหาดใหญ่เนี่ยจริงๆแล้วเนี่ยท่วมหลายจังหวัดมากนะคะที่ท่วมแบบถึงหลังคาบ้านเนี่ยก็คืออย่างอยุธยาเนี่ยคือท่วมนานแล้วเป็นที่รับน้ำของประเทศไทยนะคะรวมถึงสงขลาหาดใหญ่ที่มีคนเสียชีวิตเป็นร้อยเป็นพันตอนนี้นะคะตอนนี้ก็ยังไม่เห็นกระทรวงแรงงานกรมการจัดหางานจัดการเรื่องของเอกสารของคนที่เขาเอกสารเขาจมน้ำหมดแล้วนะคะตัวนายจ้างก็น้ำท่วมอุปกรณ์คอมพิวเตอร์อะไรก็พังหมดแล้วนะคะเราก็ยังไม่เห็นทางกระทรวงแรงงานจัดการเรื่องนี้นะคะแล้วก็จะทำให้คนที่เป็นแรงงานหรือนายจ้างที่ถูกต้องนะคะมีเอกสารทุกอย่างเนี่ยมันไม่มีเอกสารแล้วตอนนี้นะคะก็จะหลุดระบบแล้วก็กลายเป็นคนเถื่อนแล้วก็อาจจะโดนจับกลับไปที่ประเทศต้นทางก็ทำให้เรามีปัญหาการขาดแคลนแรงงานอีกนะคะสุดท้ายเลยคือเรื่องของผู้ลี้ภัยแปลก่อนไหมแปลเนี่ยขอโทษค่ะ
And another problem that she would like to highlight is that the flooding in the south, especially in Songkla and Hat Yai, because the flooding level is fairly high and people are losing their lives over there. And some of the migrant workers got flooded as well, and the documentation disappeared, and they missed the documents. And also some employers, the document is the document of the employee also go with flooding. And now many migrants are become undocumented migrant, and also the Ministry of Labor and Department of Employment doesn't have any assistance to help all those migrant workers in the south who got the flooding. And in the end, she said that if they don't have documentation, they'll be arrested and deportation back to the country.
ค่ะ เรื่องสุดท้ายนะคะเรื่องของผู้ลี้ภัยค่ะพอดีว่าได้มีโอกาสได้เข้าไปดูเรื่องของผู้ลี้ภัยตั้งแต่แรกนะคะได้เข้าไปในค่ายผู้ลี้ภัยด้วยนะคะก็จะเห็นปัญหาที่ในกลุ่มในจ้างสีขาวนะคะพยายามที่จะสื่อสารเรื่องของผู้ลี้ภัยให้กับนายจ้างผู้ประกอบการรายย่อยทั้งหลายเนี่ยค่ะทั้ง SME ทั้งทุกประเภทที่ไม่ใช่ประเภทอุตสาหกรรมใหญ่เนี่ยเราพยายามให้เขาไปที่จัดหางานนะคะแล้วขอข้อมูลของเราจะไปพาผู้ลี้ภัยออกมาทำงานได้ยังไงนะคะสรุปว่าเนี่ยการสื่อสารของกระทรวงแรงงานของกรมการจัดหางานเนี่ยออกอินโฟมาแค่1 ใบนะคะที่เหลือเนี่ยเราให้คนเข้าไปถามว่าในแต่ละจัดหางานเนี่ยมีข้อมูลของการจ้างผู้ลี้ภัยไหมสรุปว่าจัดหางานไม่มีข้อมูลของผู้ลี้ภัยให้นะคะแล้วก็ยังคงไม่เข้าใจว่าผู้ลี้ภัยเนี่ยคือใครนะคะมีวิธีการขั้นตอนที่ชัดเจนยังไงเพราะฉะนั้นเวลาที่เข้าไปแล้วเราจะนำผู้ลี้ภัยออกมาจากแคมป์เนี่ยคนที่เขาเข้าไปส่วนมากจะเป็นตัวแทนเป็นเอเจนซี่เป็นนายหน้าที่ได้เข้าไปก่อนส่วนนายจ้างจริงๆจะยังไม่ทราบข้อมูลเพราะว่าไปถามแล้วนะคะลองให้คนไปทดลองแต่ละจัดหางานพื้นที่เนี่ยยังอธิบายนายจ้างผู้ประกอบการไม่ได้นะคะพอทางนิรบนเองได้เข้าไปในแคมป์ของผู้ลี้ภัยเนี่ยเราเห็นถึงหลายๆอย่างที่ผู้ลี้ภัยยังไม่มีความพร้อมบางอย่างที่เช่นถ้านายจ้างต้องการในภาคเกษตรนะคะหรือว่าเป็นประมงเนี่ยประมงก็ยังไม่เปิดเรื่องของนำผู้ลี้ภัยเข้ามาทำงานซึ่งขาดแคลนแรงงานอย่างมากๆนะคะแล้วก็พอเข้าไปในแคมป์ปุ๊บแล้วเนี่ยเราไปถามหาว่าถ้าต้องการคนที่มาทำเรื่องของประมงกับก่อสร้างเนี่ยแล้วก็เรื่องของเกษตรเนี่ยเขาจะไม่ค่อยอยากออกนะคะเขาจะอยากจะไปโรงงานอยากจะมีมีรายได้ที่มั่นคงนะคะเพราะว่าเกษตรเนี่ยก็ยังเป็นปัญหาคือไม่มีรายได้ที่ชัดเจนให้เขานะคะแล้วก็เป็นการจ้างงานระยะสั้นนะคะประมงเนี่ยก็จะมีปัญหาตรงที่ว่ายังลงไม่ได้ก่อสร้างก็ไม่อยากทำนะคะแล้วก็เราเจอปัญหาของในค่ายผู้ลี้ภัยเนี่ยคือถูกการดูแลที่ยังไม่ค่อยดีเท่าไหร่นะคะก็มีเรื่องของยาเสพติดมีเรื่องของคนที่วิกลจริตหรือว่าตื่นกลัวกับเรื่องของสงครามที่ยังอยู่ตรงนั้นมีเรื่องของโรคติดต่ออยู่ตรงนั้นซึ่งจริงๆแล้วเนี่ยผู้ประกอบการก็มีความกังวลว่าเขาไม่เคยทำงานด้วยมีเรื่องของโรคการควบคุมโรคต่างๆยังไม่ดีเพราะฉะนั้นเนี่ยอยากให้มีหน่วยงานเข้าไปนะคะดูแลเสร็จเรียบร้อยปุ๊บก็ค่ะก็ดูแลเรื่องตรงนี้ให้เรียบร้อยก่อนแล้วก็นำออกมาใช้ดีไหมค่ะเสนอแบบนี้ค่ะ
Yeah. Herself, she has an opportunity to go into the refugee camps. And also the white employer group has been advocating and try to communicate to SME who wanted to hire the refugee. The group sent like somebody to contact DOE and ask for the information about employing the refugee from the camp, but there's not enough information from the DOE as well. So also the procedure to hire the refugee is very complicated and unclear as well. And the real employee, they cannot access to refugee. Only the broker can go to the camp and recruit the refugee. And also like the employer themselves, they don't have much information, and the DOE provide only like very less information. And also one thing that she also found in the refugee camp is that some refugees, they don't want to work in the agriculture sector, construction, and also fishery. Because the like for example, like agriculture, there's the very low pay and also very short term of employment, and also like they don't want to work in construction. And she also found in the refugee there's some health problem among the refugee themselves as well. And she wanted to for the government to work on this and like find the solution for this as well. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And apologies, we know that with the translation you needed more time. Yeah, thank you. Before I open for questions, we're very privileged today to also have in our audience the Director of Displaced Persons Policy Coordinating and Illegal Migration from the Foreign Affairs Division, Ministry of Interior. So I wonder whether you would like to say a few words to us.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for inviting me to join, but as a participant, not as a speaker, but you introduced me, so I need to go here and introduce myself. I also have another one hat. I am an assistant chief of the Operation Center for Displaced Person under the Ministry of Interior. Our office was established on 1975 because of at that time during the Indo-Chinese conflict. So Royal Thai government didn't have the mechanism to coordinate with international organization and NGO. So that's why we have been founded on that year, and we have been working, coordinating with UNHCR, IOM, and NGOs for 50 years now. We moved from the eastern part of Thailand to the western, to taking care of Myanmar displaced persons, and move forward and try to find the best solution to solve the situation. Maybe I take too long, sorry.
Thank you very much. Maybe when there are some questions, maybe we'll also be able to answer some of the questions. So can I open up to questions? Anybody would like to question anybody on the panel or extra guest, extra special guest? Yes, please.
Hi. Are there any plans by any of the organizations working in this area for some kind of you've described information precarity, a couple of the speakers have, for information campaigns, both for the refugees so they don't get scammed and they have accurate information, and also for the communities in which they're going into, so also you don't get information spreading about them coming into their community?
Okay, I'll go next. My name is Rebecca. I'm from the UN Agency for Work, the ILO. And we've been engaging with UNHCR and several other groups, HRDF, MWD, on the right to work issue as it's emerged. And I just wanted to say a couple notes that the ILO our concern is that recruitment is fair and that work is decent. Those two things are really what we're after with this. And we've been really encouraged by the job fairs. I know that and we've all seen that they're not perfect, and also they're not catching everything. So recruiters are sometimes still getting to the camps, but this model of a job fair is one that I think Thailand hasn't seen for foreigners before. And it's providing a direct recruitment option. So cutting out the middleman of recruitment agencies, meaning that people aren't having to start out their work life with a debt of 14,000 up to 20,000 baht. That's the usual charge by recruitment agencies. So it's leading to an increased transparency, increased accountability, if it can really be maintained the same aims as the white employers group has to have transparency and accountability. And we've heard some employers saying that they're appreciating not having themselves to be burdened with that fee also, depending on who's paying. Sometimes they pay up front and then deduct from workers later is often what happens. And of course, then workers aren't starting out with debt. And so I just wanted to make that major point because that's crucial. But then in terms of decent work and making sure that working conditions are good for everyone, there's a few people in the room. HRDF, the Human Rights Development Foundation Labor Law Clinic, is already providing some legal aid, which is amazing. And as well as working on some pre-departure information to refugee workers before they leave. But this is all the camp side, and there's going to need to be a major effort from so many groups at the destination side. So we really need a ton of outreach. We need people to be available to go see how it's working when they get to destinations and offer help if people need it. I think I will stop there. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Hey, hello everyone. My name is Kim So. I am a human rights activist from Cambodia, and today I'm presentation for them. They are the workers from Cambodia, and today, when they heard about the issue between the worker from Cambodia and Thailand, they want to hear from everyone. Yeah, and now he have the question and he can speak in Thai. Can you translate for her? Okay.
ขอบคุณครับพอดีมีความเป็นห่วงนิดนึงเนื่องจากกระทรวงแรงงานเขาประกาศให้แล้วก็ชะลอครับผมชะลอในเรื่องการขึ้นทะเบียนแล้วก็กลุ่มที่ลงไม่ทันลงทะเบียนไม่ทันหรือต่อไม่ทันก็มีแล้วก็มีบางกลุ่มก็แอบเข้ามาแล้วขึ้นทะเบียนไม่ได้อันเนี้ยก็มีความเป็นห่วงเหมือนกันก็อยากถามว่าพอจะมีทางออกให้กลุ่มเหล่านี้ไหมครับเพื่อจะอาศัยอยู่ต่อได้ครับผม
เดี๋ยวขอโยนให้หนึ่งในคณะกรรมการนโยบายนะคะพี่ทรงกฎรบกวนช่วยตอบด้วยนะคะ
He's from Cambodia. He would like to ask some questions. During the delay of the registration, he said that many Cambodia now they become undocumented migrant workers, and that's a very short time for registration. Some of them cannot register. And is there any like solution for that?
it's a difficult question, but and it's not my excuse. I'm being here to participate in the toward the right to work for the Myanmar displaced person issues. But yes, I'm Ministry of Interior, also the committee under the mechanism of the MOL to manage the migrant laborers. But as we do know, right now, the Royal Thai government suspend and reconsidered the policy toward the Cambodian migrant workers is not that clear, and I don't have any the further information, especially for the Cambodian migrant workers yet, because I'm I'm not the policy actor to finalize the solution for the Cambodian migrant workers. Sorry to say like this, and we will see. Because as the other participant mentioned, Thailand we facing the labor shortages, and we are rely on and dependent on the all for migrant workers from neighboring country for years because of aged society issues, birth rate also not increased for many years. So I think in the end we will find the proper solution to taking care of these challenges.
I'm sorry, I want to add a little bit. Why he's worried? Because in Cambodia, the political issue is not related to Thai, but it also inside the country. We also have the political issue inside the country, and we don't have work in Cambodia. So many Cambodians, they don't want to go back to Cambodia. You can see that most of Cambodians who not go back, even they know it's fighting between Thai and Cambodia, but they still stay. Because if they go back, they cannot find a job. And for like her, she stayed for 20 years already. She have the children here. They have school here, and he stay here also 20 years. They cannot go back and try like reworking, like something like that. It's not easy for them to find a new job. That is why they just want to come and share. And yeah, we know that there's a lot of the worker here. They don't have document. They don't have the visa, something like that. So if the Thailand have the law for the visa, if they don't have visa, can move them back and can make the new visa and come back. But for them, they are staying 20 years with the visa. So Thailand should have the solution for them, something. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing about Cambodia. We one more point. Oh, sorry. Are you pointing? Oh, on the internet.
He raised his hand first, so please.
We'll have got the internet after. Sorry.
Hello everyone, and I'm from Cambodia. I'm working NGO and a representative of Cambodian migrant worker in Thailand. And now Cambodian migrant in work in Thailand, like a little bit sad. They know that the government in Thailand did not allow them to continue and like work permit and visa. And before a crisis, the labor Cambodian and they came to Thailand. Almost the number is 2 million people. They come to work in Thailand, and after they have a problem between the government and Cambodia and Thai, they come back to about 90,000 they come back, but when they back to Cambodia, they don't have job to do. About 90,000 people they go back to Cambodia. They have 30% they get job, but other people they don't have job and they come to Thailand again. And almost 4 months, and authority along the border they catch more than 1,000 Cambodian they across without document. They don't allow them to come to Thailand again. And so right now, military of labor they update the Cambodian people in Thailand now 490,000. Next year maybe 900 Cambodian workers they like limit the document. So right now they worry about that. So we like I talk the sad story about that. So that's my idea. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
So much.
Thank you so much for sharing. And it's really important that we get the Cambodian situation raised as well. And the numbers, but trying to find the actual numbers of the numbers who left, the numbers who return, it's almost impossible. I mean, we have looked and looked, and you get such different numbers, absolutely impossible, which says a lot in itself. Yeah, that if we have no idea how many people actually leave, how many people come back, how many people stay, how are we going to have policies to look after them, to make sure that they have decent work? So thank you so much. I think we have one question on the internet, so I need to address that.
Sorry. Okay, this is an online question and it's about like the health services. So someone online who is watching live was asking when are Thai authorities going to allow Burmese doctor to treat Burmese? Because among the refugees, there are, of course, healthcare workers among the numbers of them. It would take pressure off from the Thai health service and act as a mean to alert of disease crossing the borders. So this might be an aspect that has not yet been mentioned in the discussion so far. Thanks.
Thank you. Health issues, everyone back there.
Hi, Sudarat from Mahidol Migration Center. I'm curious to know from both the CSO perspective, like MMN and also UNHCR, are there any policy recommendations toward real integration in terms of pathway to residency that is the best for Thailand? So I'm curious to know about these kind of recommendations. For example, the US used to have amnesty program for people who can show that they're not a burden to the state. They stay at least, 15 years, 14 years, they can show, and they work, they can show that they can have a pathway to a green card, right? Or for example, not quite permanent residency, but Taiwan allows 12 years plus. These are the time of the work permit, they continuous stay. So I'm just curious to know from CSO's perspective and from UNHCR if any kind of these kind of policy recommendations have been put forward.
Thank you. I think we're running out of time, so I'm going to ask for comments back on some of those questions. We've had a question about information campaigns. So I think I'll let people answer. And information campaigns. We had a question about permanent residency, whether people can get permanent residency after staying here for a certain amount of time. Yes. And the question over here of do we think that the Thai government will ever allow Burmese doctors who come CDM doctors, civil disobedience doctors who are qualified doctors to work in Thailand to take care of the Burmese population, some of the Burmese population? Anybody would like to comment on this? For the information.
Okay. For the question that Thailand will allow like doctor, healthcare staff to this is the big challenges of the Thai Royal Thai government, because we didn't the party of 1951, the Refugee Convention. So for many years we distinguished many forced displacement for displaced people into many groups of people. And we do know that after the coup d'etat in Myanmar, we also hosting more than 10,000 Myanmar people who crossed border after the coup d'etat. And for the group of population, we also know that we have some skilled workers, also include the medic, teachers and nurses, and many more. And I think if we allow the especially the healthcare staff to working legally in the border area to share the burdens of Thai public hospital might be good. It's not only for Thais, it's also for the migrant population along the border. But we need to thinking carefully, especially for the public sentiments, and we need to have the clear information how many of them, and we need to make Thai people knowing it, like fully understand why we need to have these kind of policy. So I think we can, it's possible to do that, and it's not the new things. We have been discussing among the government agency, and also we got a recommendation from the IO, CSO, and some like sub-parliamentary committees as well to allow skilled labor from Myanmar to working legally, especially along the borders.
Sorry, I wonder whether you could also address the question about permanent residence.
Permanent residency. Thank you for the questions. As we know, I'm not fully Thai, if considered to back to my ancestor. They were the Chinese boat people and migrate to here, and the second generation got the PR, and the third generation fully got the fully citizenship, and then and become the civil servant. But for this group of people, I mean Myanmar displaced person, because of we consider the incumbent policy toward them. If you compare with some stateless group of people here in Thailand who already eligible to develop their status to permanent residency or nationality, because when you cross the border and you have two options, it seems like you should to go to the camp and then you get struck and you cannot develop your status. So, but in the future, maybe back to the same answer, we need to consider, Thai public sentiment. It's not only Thai society. You mentioned about the US, but it's not the right now US. You're talking about green card. PR is not right now US. It's depend on the policy. It's depend on the trend, the global trend. Right now, the global trend is not as we know, it's humanitarian regime is not stable like before. That's why we have the facing the foreign aid cut. We have facing stop resettlement program. So that's why we need to shoot other option to allow camp population working outside. It's the same thing, but we need to taking carefully to choose the option. Thank you.
Just to complement and address the question, which I think Rebecca from ILO briefly touched on in terms of the information campaigns. I think absolutely this is something that needs to be done and has started. So HRDF was given as an example, providing legal awareness and information. But you're right, it's also about services where communities are going, and to pick up on the notion of public opinion and public awareness of this. I think it's really important that people are aware, they understand both refugees, employers, and the community, and that they understand the benefits that this brings. So I think to the point that was also made, really being able to look at this critically and understand the impact that we're seeing as dual dividends. So not only to the refugee community, but to the community that's hosting them, making that information aware, I think really helps. We saw this in a different context, not to do too many other contexts, but for example, in Ecuador, they actually saw that when providing refugees and migrants the right to work, it actually increased GDP more than providing access to the services of education and everything else. And so they saw, and the government was able to use that with public opinion to say, okay, yes, we need to have these policies, we need to provide access to education. So again, I think we've been really encouraged because we are seeing stepping stones. We're in an active conversation around ID documents for the refugee community, which I think is an important policy shift, which will unlock things like financial inclusion, access to SIM cards, which are very important as people are moving. So I think it takes time, and we're starting to see those efforts being made. But going back, I think, to what was said, I think we all have a responsibility to help keep positive momentum around this, to contribute where we can, to make sure that information is being shared. And I do think there's a lot more we have to do to make it approachable for employers, for them to understand. But I think as we're working together to simplify processes, to get the systems up so that they can also meet the demand, we want to go strategically moving forward. So just to say, I think this is a promising start, and we're hoping that we can move forward.
Thank you. I think we have to come to an end. Just on the information, we'd like to say that the Mekong Migration Network, which is a network of CSOs in the Mekong region, is meeting tomorrow, and that will be one of the things that we will be discussing. And HRDF is part of that. And I mean, all of these CSOs do information campaigns for migrant workers, and actually, like MAP used to do for refugees. We used to do in Karen language, getting tapes in those days, which were then broadcast in the camps. So yeah, I think we may have to go back to that to get more information out as we used to. So thank you very much to all my panelists. I think we've run out of time. I'm sorry, Judith.
Want to give him
we can give? Okay, I'm just
okay. And then I will conclude.
Yes. Yes, I would like to add something for the regarding for the the campaign, the information campaign. That I also recall about the employers at the white the employer side. That regarding for the refugees. I also used to live in the refugee camp for 6 years. So last month I went to the 3 refugee camps, and the 2 refugee camps in the Mekong Song, and the 1 camp in the Kanchanaburi, the Sankhaburi city. So they are the very limited information. I found it that because of this, there are also the disinformation and misinformation as well. So this is a very dangerous for us. And when I went there, as the employer told like that, there were the many, the broker, the manipulating the refugee. Yeah, even myself, I'm the refugee, and I'm talking for their same language. One refugee camp that I was there for 6 years, I already told. So I share with them. So the regarding for the agriculture, the work, but some the refugee they prefer to work there, especially near the Cambodia border, some province I don't remember. So that over the 200 refugees they went there to work, but it is like the seasonal workers. Seasonal worker is not stable, so they only working for the 3 months, or they had to back to the refugee camp, or some of them they have the children, that the children are also the study at the refugee camp. Unfortunately, most of the refugee camp education center have the credit because of international funding. So they also not clear enough that they can bring their children to where they are working. So this is also the one problem. Also, recently some refugee that they called us. They didn't get their the minimum wages. It was the Thai royal government, they already approved it. For example, in the Mekong Song, they had to pay for the 347 baht for per day or something like that. They didn't pay it. So that's why who are going to protect for them? Even the migrants, the refugee, they already in camp for many years. Some of them, that they was born there, or some of them over 20 years or 30 years already there. So this also I do appreciate it. Our campaign, information campaign, is also very important. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Chichit. Thank you to all the panelists. I think Reko would like to say a few words of thanks.
Thank you so much for all the panelists, and also Ms. Zong Kon from Ministry of Interior, and Ms. Jackie Pollock for moderating, and also like to say very, very big thank you to the SEA Junction for hosting this meeting. And before we go, we have a token of appreciation gift for all the speakers, and it will be from Mr. Bram Press, who's chairperson of the MMN Steering Committee and executive director of the MAP Foundation.
Okay, I need to say some concluding word.
Oh, of course, sorry. Yeah.
Please give the gift first.
Gift first and then concluding remarks. Yeah.
So I can close.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. I think there are a lot of questions still unresolved. I think myself, I am also confused about all this. There are so many people without papers, so many pink cards, so many different kind of pink cards. Are we going to add another pink cards? What are you going to do with all those that are not regulated? We know that almost no one get the fix, like was say minimum pay. People, I just finished research on construction worker, even Cambodian migrants who were foremen were below the minimum pay wage per day. So it's going to be a challenge now to have this new group get totally regulated and at the minimum wage. So I think there are a lot of questions still to answer. Also, 50% of the people in the camps are born in Thailand. are young, below 18 years? Are they still foreign? Right. So I think this is just the beginning of the talk. We know that there is a need to look more comprehensively at all policies be made to integrate those policies. And indeed, it's time to think about a pathway for integration of migrants community who have been here 15, 20 years, as well as permanent resident. Myself, I have applied to the permanent resident. I just was informed I got it. I got the permanent. Wait, but still, I don't know many months to get the actual paper. It's a very painful process, 2 years in the process. So and I am among the privileged one. So I think it's really time to think about what pathways are there for more, like the Chinese at the time. I think they were lucky, right? They could be fully integrated into, with many advantage for Thailand. So why not for Burmese, Cambodian, and other groups, Italian even. Okay, with these words, I conclude. We have some publication from MMN. We have some publication from SEA Junction. We have sticker about migration. You can take how many you want, but give a donation on the box and give a donation on your way out, because this helps our foundation to continue to hold events like this. This week is dedicated to migration. Tomorrow, we have another event on migration and climate change. And we have also on Saturday about Thai migrants going to Finland. Thai also have similar problem when they work abroad. So it's a movie, a very interesting movie to watch. So please continue to come back and continue to support SEA Junction. Thank you very much.